Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. In this video, I've got a piece from Alex Cobb's website, the XRP Daily, titled Federal Reserve New FedNow Service Confirmed to Have Irreversible Transactions Just Like XRP. It also discusses the idea of this program partnering up with Ripple and potentially using XRP, and I'm going to share with you my opinion on that. I'm also going to touch briefly, for those of you that aren't aware, it's been a few weeks since we talked about it on the channel anyway, just a very brief refresher on what the program is, and then I'll wrap up the video with a piece from Cointelegraph, unrelated XRP, titled Portugal Tax Authority, Bitcoin Trading and Payments Are Tax-Free. Now, before we get going, if you would please delicately tap that like button, and if you're a fan of Ripple and XRP, you've come to the right place. Go ahead and subscribe to the Moon Lambo channel. It does a body good. So let's dig into this piece right here. Actually, no, I take it back. Let's go ahead and talk just real briefly first. We need to set the table here first. I'll promise I'll be brief because some of you are caught up to speed on this, but I got to do this. So here, this is from federalreserve.gov. This is a piece, August 5th, 2019, titled Federal Reserve Announces Plan to Develop a New Round-the-Clock Real-Time Payment and Settlement Service to Support Faster Payments. The Federal Reserve Board on Monday announced that the Federal Reserve banks will develop a new round-the-clock real-time payment and settlement service called the FedNow service to support faster payments in the United States. And of course, as soon as we hear the word settlement, I remember alarm bells going off within the, not everybody, but alarm bells going off within the XRP community. Settlement, but XRP does settlement, yes. Well, I'm going to touch on it. The rapid evolution of technology presents a pivotal opportunity for the Federal Reserve and the payment industry to modernize the nation's payment system and establish a safe and efficient foundation for the future. The Federal Reserve believes faster payment services, which enable the near instantaneous transfer of funds day and night, weekend and weekdays, have the potential to become widely used and to yield economic benefits for individuals and businesses by providing them with more flexibility to manage their money and make time-sensitive payments. Since its founding more than a century ago, the Federal Reserve has provided payment and settlement services alongside and in cooperation with the private sector as part of its core function of promoting an accessible, safe, and efficient U.S. payment system. The Federal Reserve has established over its history a broad reach as a provider of payment and settlement services to more than 10,000 financial institutions across the country. That will help the FedNow service support a nationwide infrastructure on which the financial services industry may develop innovative, faster payment services for the benefit of all Americans. And so, as it pertains to liquidity and settlement, larger entities, as you know, as it pertains specifically to cross-border payments, they charge their smaller competitors to piggyback on that liquidity. So quite literally what I mean by that is small banks and mid-sized banks will tap into the Nostro accounts that large banks have around the world, because the smaller banks and mid-sized banks, they don't really have the capital necessary to have Nostro accounts all over the entire world just to transfer from one fiat currency to another. So conceptually, if you're talking about global cross-border payments converting, that is what's going on there. As it pertains to this program, though, I have to tell you, this is something that operates within the United States. The FedNow program in no way is seeking to solve the exact same problem that Ripple seeks to solve by utilizing XRP as a bridge currency for cross-border payments. So the short answer to, is this some sort of competition to what Ripple is doing? No, absolutely not. That's not what they're doing here. And you can understand also that you can already have instantaneous settlement if you have if there's no intermediaries. So if you have point A and point B, so two banks with existing relationships, but no intermediaries between the two, even with Nostro accounts, you can have near instant settlement already. Essentially, you just debit and credit ledgers. It's not exactly rocket science. The hairy part gets when you have this bilateral chain of banking relationships, because which comes out of the issue. I always go back to this. It has to do with trust. because certain banks trust other certain banks, but there's no way you can have a personal relationship with every single bank out there, and that's how the correspondent banking system came to be the train wreck that it is today. And until blockchain technology was created, there really was no reasonable solution for all of this. So again, this is not what they're seeking to solve. So let me hop into Alex Cobb's piece now that we've kind of set the table with that. On August 27th, 2019 at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, the Federal Reserve hosted an online webinar on the new service called FedNow. Here is the original link, but keep in mind you'll have to fill in some information to get access to the archived webinar. I was tuning into the webinar today when it was live and was able to catch a really good presentation slide as well as a statement along with it. The actual statement regarding irreversible settlement starts at 11 minutes 24 seconds. Here I have the presentation slide that was used in the online webinar. And you can see it's the fourth point. If you're not driving, feel free to take a look at your screen. It's point number 4, and he circled it. It states, final and irrevocable settlement of payments in financial institutions' master accounts at the reserve banks. Okay. And then the piece continues, transactions over the new FedNow service are completely irreversible, unlike our current payment infrastructure. The reason why I'm writing this article is because the XRP ledger cannot reverse any transactions, just like the new FedNow platform. Okay, true, definitely true. I do want to point out, though, that the FedNow program, the reason it's not reversible is there's a central authority that says, no, it's not reversible. This doesn't utilize blockchain technology, or at least there's certainly no indication that they're going to utilize blockchain technology of any kind whatsoever. That would be a big surprise if some news along those lines came out. So what he said is absolutely true, but just understand why. Okay, and then the piece continues. The more and more I hear new information about the FedNow service, it really starts to seem like either Ripple or XRP are involved, and it's not a stretch either. It is confirmed that Ripple has close engagement with the Federal Reserve, as well as other large institutions and regulatory bodies. For example, Ripple also did meet with high-level White House administration, and they are currently engaging with 50 central banks. So, Ripple or XRP involved? Well, I'm perfectly happy to discuss this. I don't think it's unreasonable that Alex Cobb is bringing up the concept of this. I like thinking through all potential outcomes. That's all well and good. But I would say this. There's no evidence to believe this is the case. And so nothing against Alex whatsoever. I don't feel that it's likely that this is the case. And the other reason is the way that this program works with the limited information out there. And again, it's not even completely developed. They don't even know how it's going to work because it's not going to be ready for another, 4 or 5 years if it ever comes out. I'm assuming it will. I am assuming it will. But it's a completely different business model, as I was stating just a little bit earlier. So as far as, utilizing XRP for bridge currency, that's what Ripple's using to position XRP for. That's the use case there. But when you're talking about the just use purely within the United States, not transferring from one fiat currency to another, which is the public understanding that we all have right now, what would XRP specifically be used for? What could Ripple add to this? Now, they did submit a proposal. I covered it in a previous video, and I don't want to get too into the weeds here. Ripple could be working with them. So more so the area where I want to say I really don't believe, just because there's no reason to. It's more about the XRP side of it as to whether or not Ripple would work with them on the program. That maybe. And there's another company that I cited. I can't remember the name now, but they got really high marks in whatever the rating system was that the Federal Reserve was using here. They got really high marks, and I just can't remember what they're called now. But it doesn't really matter conceptually to understand what I'm getting at here. So could Ripple in some capacity be involved? Maybe. XRP, though, less likely. And that's just my humble opinion, but I encourage diversity of thought. To me, like I said in another video today, I kind of enjoy speaking with people who disagree with me more than people who agree with me, because it makes for a more lively conversation. And when you engage with somebody that does have a different opinion, understand that as long as you're being adults, it can be a lot of fun. And I always go in with this thought process. When you're speaking with anybody, just have the understanding that they definitely know something that you don't know. You can always learn something from somebody. So go in with an open mind. And that's kind of what I'm doing here, but again, I just don't see a reason that XRP would specifically be used. But if you can think of a reason that it would, or if there's any sort of evidence that I'm missing, please drop it below, and I'll be happy to report on that in future videos. And I like to share other people's opinions anyway, so again, feel free to comment. I love reading through that stuff. And then the piece continues here. Let's look at one of the other presentation slides about how the payments would flow on FedNow. Seems like a very streamlined payment process, just like Ripple and the numerous examples we have seen that show how streamlined and direct it is. There is no guarantee that this new FedNow system is leveraging either Ripple or XRP, but it seems like it could be possible. So we need to keep tabs on future Federal Reserve FedNow webinars to see if any new information arises. What I want to see is their plan for sourcing liquidity when it comes to international payments, because they have not discussed that at all yet. That's correct, and that's what I'm kind of waiting for. But would they actually use a cryptocurrency to tap into it? I just don't think that the Federal Reserve is in the business of king making, and that's kind of what this would be. Now, if it happened, hey, super duper, all thumbs up. I would love it if there's some sort of actual use case, and the Federal Reserve was going to make use of XRP. Come on, who wouldn't like that? I am Mr. XRP Bull. I see bright future ahead for this particular cryptocurrency, but at this point, I think it's fair to acknowledge that it's purely speculative right now. Let me go ahead and hop into the next piece now from Cointelegraph. Portugal tax authority Bitcoin trading and trading and payments are tax-free. Portugal's tax authority has clarified that both cryptocurrency trading and payments in crypto will not be taxed in the country, Cointelegraph in Espanol reported on August 27th. According to a report published on August 26th by Portuguese business newspaper Jornal de Negócios, and I'm probably butchering that, but hey, that's cool. That's a thing I do here on the Moon Lambo channel. I butcher names. The Portuguese Tax and Customs Authority have confirmed that crypto transactions or payments are exempt from value-added tax, VAT. The agency reportedly provided the clarification to a local crypto mining company, publishing an official ruling document. In the document, the authority states that the exchange of crypto for fiat money is free of VAT, adding that crypto users do not have to pay any income tax. And, I think this is one of those things, and we still need, obviously, regulatory clarity, and I wish there were more in the United States, but if a cryptocurrency specifically is to be used as money, yeah, that kind of makes sense. If it's, if the SEC views a particular cryptocurrency as a security, oh yeah, there's going to be tax implications there, but that's why you need thoughtful regulations here. Anyway, piece continues. In the official statement, the Portuguese tax authority cited a 2015 ruling by the European Court of Justice regarding the case involving major Swedish Bitcoin portal Bitcoin.se and its moderator, David Hedqvist. As reported at the time, the court ordered that Bitcoin is a means of payment and that the exchange should therefore be exempted VAT obligations. However, the Swedish tax agency subsequently argued against the ruling, claiming that the court did not fully understand the matter. So, hey, progress. Conceptually, more things getting set in stone. Portugal got it going on, I guess. You can tell me what you think. That's it for this video. I am not a financial advisor. Do not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the Moon Lambo!